Today we're going to be welcoming a very special guest to the interview. Everyone give a warm welcome to a famous zoologist, Joan Procter.
Hi, thank you, Ms. Wu. I'm very excited to be here tonight.
Okay, here on BBC, we're honored to have you. Do you mind if I ask you some questions?
Yes, of course, let's begin.
So we know that you worked with Komodo dragons, but have you always been fascinated by these creatures?
Yes, I became interested with reptiles when I was a young child. I got a small pet crocodile when I was 16, and I would occasionally bring it to class with me.
What do you think that got you so interested in reptiles and animals in the first place?
Well, like I said, not only did I have a pet crocodile at 16, but I really love how interesting reptiles are. In my garden as a child, I saw reptiles and I was fascinated by the way they looked. They can regulate their inner body temperature to the temperature of their environment, and something about that really enticed me.
Wow, that's really interesting. Do you keep any other pets of that sort as of now?
Yes, at the moment I have a tamed pet Komodo dragon, but I also keep with me various other small frogs. I actually had a pet chimpanzee named Johnny at my home in St. Mark's Square.
A pet chimpanzee? I knew you love reptiles, but that's insane. With such a passion for reptiles while you were young and now grown up to be a zoologist, were there people who supported you along the way?
Well, when I was around 18, my interest in reptiles came to the attention of George Albert, who worked at the British Museum, and he really encouraged me. When I left school, he invited me to work with him, and I eventually worked up to becoming his assistant.
Interesting. At such a young age, you were very lucky to have people to guide and support you and help you achieve your aspirations. With your mother being an artist, did you ever take this talent yourself and incorporate it into your own studies?
I did, actually, at the Natural History Museum, where I made models of display cases of many reptiles.
Amazing. Seeing parents help their children out and what they aspire to be is inspiring for me. I hope my children, I can do the same. What is some advice would you give to young women who want to follow their dreams?
There will always be people who always want to bring you down, especially as a woman in society, but I believe if you really want something, you can have it.
So inspiring. Have you ever personally experienced discrimination at your line of work?
Yes, definitely. I ended up leaving the Natural History Museum because of the work conditions. They weren't favorable of women. I do not want to be in an environment that allows discrimination.
Yes, I love how you think. You're truly a role model for young women everywhere. Can you tell us about your field of work? Exactly what is herpetology?
Well, herpetology is the branch of zoology concerned with the study of amphibians and reptiles. Actually, birds, which are cladistically included within reptilia, are traditionally excluded from here. The scientific study of birds is the subject of ornithology.
Wow, that sounds like an amazing field to work in. Where do you pursue your profession now?
Well, I have pursued my profession as a zoologist at the Natural History Museum in the London Zoo. I actually have designed a park called the Reptile House.
Wow, you built a reptile house, what an accomplishment. Now, we previously have known you discover the peninsula dragon, but can you tell us more about it?
Well, the peninsula dragon lizard lives in Australia. It is native to the rocky shores of Arcuna. It's a very fast and agile animal, and the patterns in this animal are phenomenal in that they change drastically dependent on its different geographically isolated population.
As I said, your line of work is really compelling. I wish I could go out and research and discover new animals, but personally, I am very scared of them. Now, the real question is, have you ever been scared of the reptiles that you were working with?
Oh yes, there's no doubt about it. They could kill someone if they wished or give a terrible bite, but with good care, they could be tamed like dogs and can show affection just as any house pet may.
That is so scary. I can imagine that. Although it is fascinating that you can really tame them like a normal cat or dog. Besides finding so much information about the Komodo dragon, what is another animal that you have contributed to finding and researching?
I actually studied the East African tortoise, and I found that this animal is able to sneak into rock crevices by taking advantage of its flexible shell.
Well, following up with that, Were there any obstacles that stopped you with your research?
Although I don't talk of this often, I have a chronic intestinal illness that is preventing me from doing a lot of things. Because of this, I unfortunately abandoned the idea of going to my dream college, Cambridge University.
That is really saddening, Ms. Procter, but look at where you are now. It is pretty clear that a lot of work went into your making of the reptile house. Could you explain some of the technical features that you added to it?
Yes, I used a Vita glass in the ceiling because it allows ultraviolet light to get to the reptiles, and this is necessary for them to properly synthesize vitamin D.
Crazy, that sounds so intricate and complicated. You're a really intelligent woman, Ms. Procter. Now our final question is, what achievements do you truly take pride in, and what are some awards you have won for your work?
Thank you so much. As you know, I designed a reptile house and have discovered the peninsula dragon. I've also been published in scientific books and journals internationally, as well as I've also won the Honorary Doctor Award of Science at the University of Chicago. Although I find my biggest accomplishment to be my ratings in J.A. Hamilton's Wonders of Animal Life. And overall, just researching these animals is so rewarding in itself.
Amazing. You contributed and worked so hard to pave the pathway for people who want to pursue in your career. It is such an honor to have such an amazing lady here tonight on BBC. I really hope young girls take you as an inspiration and look up to you. Thank you for letting us have you tonight, Ms. Procter.
It is my pleasure, Ms. Wu. Thank you for being so amazing to me.
Well, that is it tonight, folks. Tune in next week for more interviews on influential women of our time. I hope everyone have a good night and